There is one particular time where the manufacturer was supposed to give 50% to the wholesaler as a commission, as there is central procurement. When I say central procurement, that is the manufacturer only will go with everything, because he wants the manufacturers to again give more goods, only then he'll pay it. So all these things will be what? The money when it reaches the manufacturer, it is already 1 month or half a month. They do not sell, please understand, they do not sell products of other manufacturers. That is what the Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Vidhyaashram from the Department of Business Studies in Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome back. Here we'll go with the next fixed shop type, that is the multiple shop, or we also can call that as chain stores. Now in the last session I told you about this departmental stores. Now we'll go with chain stores, and I'll tell you more about what exactly the chain store is all about. Now when we understand chain stores, you need to understand two things. What is the advantages, and you will definitely have something called disadvantages. Now here in this session I'll be explaining you about the advantages as well as the disadvantages of chain store or multiple stores. Now chain stores or multiple stores, what exactly they are? Chain store or multiple stores are networks. Please understand, the first key point here is networks of retail shop. Now what exactly this network is all about? That are owned and operated by manufacturers or intermediaries. Now please understand, this is what the difference is. Earlier you used to understand the retailer business and the wholesaler business, what exactly the wholesaler used to do and what the retailer does. But in the retailer, when you understand fixed shop and that you go with the multiple stores, this is what it is. These people are owned by whom? By the manufacturers itself or the intermediaries. When I say intermediaries, they are the brokers, right? They are the brokers. Now that is what the difference between a departmental store and a chain store is. Under this type of arrangements, a number of shops with similar appearance are established in localities spread over different parts of the country. Say example, I'll give you example here. Say Reliance, right? Now Reliance have a chain stores, that is Reliance Fresh for vegetables, Reliance Trends for clothing, and there are so many other kind of a thing. Now the Reliance have also started with jewelry shop. Now all these things are what? They are the retailers, but we call that as a chain stores or a multiple shops. Now what are the advantages of this chain? So the first one here is economies of scale. Now I'll tell you this economy of scale, what really happens with a proper example where I can give you in a diagram. Now say example, a manufacturer is here. Now usually what used to happen, the manufacturer will sell it to the wholesaler, and then the wholesaler will sell it to the retailers, and the retailer will sell it to the final consumer. Now this is what the real chain used to happen. Now manufacturer, he will get less profit when he go with this kind of a chain. Reason is the wholesaler wants commission. Again here if you understand, even the retailer wants the commission, right? But if you understand, say it is 2% or here also 2%, let's go with this. So 4% unnecessary, or I'm giving it just an example with 2%. There are chances of getting 20%, 30% also. There is one particular time where the manufacturer was supposed to give 50% to the wholesaler as a commission. The reason is his product were not to be sold in the market due to some demand and supply issues. So he wanted the wholesaler to actually go with it. I'm just giving an example of 2%. Now, instead of doing all these things, the manufacturer only will go with the multiple shops or a chain stores where the manufacturer will be the owner of everything. Now the manufacturer will be the wholesaler, the manufacturer will be the retailer. So whatever happens is, again, the manufacturer is only getting the profit. That is what the reality which happens here in the advantages. Next is elimination of middlemen. So what has happened is now the manufacturer have eliminated the wholesaler, the retailer, or even the agents who are in between the wholesaler and the retailer. No bad debts. Now, what is this no bad debts? Now, only when the final consumer will buy the product, the retailer will get the money. After that, the retailer will give it to the wholesaler will give it to the manufacturer. This is what used to happen, right? But now, because the manufacturer is only acting as a wholesaler, he's only acting as a retailer, what happens is he don't need to give, or he don't need to wait for the money transactions. Transfer of goods. Now here, transfer of goods, what happens is the final consumer, whenever he buys from the normal retailer, now the retailer will get to know what is the demand and what is the supply of it. If he feels that there is a demand, then he'll book in advance to the wholesaler. Then again, the wholesaler will book in advance for the manufacturers. But here what has happened is the manufacturer will get to know each and everything, when and where the products are very less and the product are very more. He'll only do the transfer of the goods very easily. Next, diffusion of risk, then the low cost and flexibility. See, flexibility in the sense, as I told you, that the manufacturer will only do everything. So he will be flexible the way he really wants to go with the business. He don't need to be concentrating on the wholesaler or the retailer or any of the agents who are there. He will have his own terms and conditions, and he can go with wherever he feels like going for the shopping. So these are the advantages which you people need to know. And when I say that low cost, please understand the reality about low cost. Meanwhile, when I am explaining you about it, I'll explain you about what exactly the low cost is all about. Firstly, economies of scale. As there is central procurement, when I say central procurement, that is the manufacturer only will go with everything. As there is a central procurement manufacturing, the multiple shop organization enjoys the economies of scale. That is, whichever they really want to go for the production, they'll go for it, and then they'll sell the product as well. Elimination of middlemen. Now please understand here, I'll give you one more example which you can actually learn from it. Now say example, this is what the manufacturer looks like, right? Manufacturer. Now if you understand that we have a retailer in between, and this is what the final consumer is. Now multiple shops or multiple stores or chain stores, what they usually do is the owners will be the manufacturers. So you are eliminating the retailer. Now supposingly you will not eliminate retailer, what happens is the retailer will ask the manufacturer to give the goods for credit basis. Now the manufacturer need to accept whatever the retailer will ask, because the final consumer will never come to the manufacturer directly and buy the product. Even if they buy also, it will be like 2% or 3% out of 100%. So usually all the final consumers or the customers, they go and they buy the products from the retailers only. When you go with a maximum, say 95 to 96% people, they go to the retailer and then they buy the things. Now when they are doing all these things, you need to understand that the retailer is getting a credit, plus after the goods are sold, again then what happens is he'll not pay to the manufacturer, because he wants the manufacturers to again give more goods, only then he'll pay it. So all these things will be what that will make a manufacturer's courage of doing a business very low. So here what happens is, if you eliminate the middleman, directly the manufacturers can only be the retailer, and he can open a multiple chain store, and whenever the final consumer or the customer they want to come, they'll come and they'll take it in whichever format they want. So then what happens is the commissions or whatever the things the retailers or the middleman had, everything will be cancelled, and manufacturer will enjoy making his own decision, making his own terms and conditions, and he'll also be relieved, saying that there is no middleman and there is no barrier for the manufacturer to meet the final consumer. By selling directly to the consumers, the multiple shop organization is able to eliminate unnecessary middlemen. See, there are unnecessary middlemen. I'll just give you an example here. If you go with manufacturer, next you will go with wholesaler, next you will go with retailer. Now between the wholesaler retailer there will be somebody called agent, right? From manufacturer to wholesaler there is somebody called broker. Now what happens is, the more the chain of middlemen the line is, then everybody will actually make profit by not doing anything. Only by exchanging hands they'll actually make the commission. So here if the retailer is there, then again the retailer will give it to the consumer. Now what happens in the multiple stores, you are eliminating each and everybody, broker, wholesaler, agent and retailer. You have a final contact with the consumer straight, that is direct. You have a direct contact. So that is what the plus point here we can get. No bad debts. Since all the sales in these shops are made on cash basis, there are no losses on account of bad debts. Now here what happens, you need to understand. When this retailer or the wholesaler, let's go with retailer, wholesaler and the manufacturer. Now usually what happens when we go with the final consumer, what is the service given by the wholesaler to the manufacturer and the manufacturer to the wholesaler is, the manufacturer gives the product, the goods, on credit base. That is what the wholesaler wants. The same way the retailer also, the wholesaler will give goods on credit. Now there are few retailers who will also give credits to the customer. That is what the services of retailer is, that again the goods are given in credit. Now what exactly happens is, if everybody are trying to give everything in credit, only after certain time the customer will give the money to the retailer, hence the retailer will give it to the wholesaler, now wholesaler will give it to the manufacturer. By then what happens is, 1 month or 2 months it will be what, the goods have gone from the godown, the goods have gone from the manufacturer, but the money when it reaches the manufacturer, it is already 1 month or half a month. Here what happens, there will be no bad debts, that is everything happens on cash basis. So that is what the advantages for the manufacturer. Next we have is transfer of goods. The goods not in demand in a particular locality may be transferred to another locality where it is in demand. This reduces the chances of dead stock in these shops. Now there are many dead stocks which the manufacturers deals with. After the expiry also it reaches to the manufacturers saying that we couldn't sell it, so we will not pay the amount. So that is what the retailer or the wholesaler will give suggestions to the or advice to the manufacturer, saying that these are the things, your product is not good, that's what the reason we couldn't sell it. But here if he himself is in the field and he sees that what really happens is, the retailer and the wholesaler are not bothered about the manufacturer, what pain he has taken, what are his commitments. They'll see that the product will be sold or the product will not sell. So these are the two things which they have. But if the manufacturer have his own shop, what happens is, say example here we have a shop in Bangalore and a shop in Mysuru, right? Now you have a shop in Bangalore and you have a shop in Mysuru. Now there is no demand for the product in Mysuru. There is no demand, or the demand is less, and there is a demand in Bangalore. Now as a manufacturer, what he can do is he can transfer the goods from less demand to the place where the demand is there. So what is the meaning about it is, you need to understand is, the product will be sold. It is whether it sells in Mysore or in Bangalore, the manufacturer doesn't have any problem. The manufacturer only wants what the product, whatever he has manufactured, it should actually get its own sales in any part of the place, but he should get profit. That is what the transfer of goods is all about. Diffusion of risk. Now the losses incurred by one shop may be covered by profit in other shop, reducing the total risk of an organization. That is called diffusion of risk. Now the same example which I gave you, like Mysore and Bangalore, you need to understand, though Bangalore is making profit and Mysore is not. Now, when you transfer the goods from Mysore to Bangalore, what happens is you are actually doing what? Diffusion of risk. That is, the losses incurred by one shop may be covered by profit in other shop. So that is what, there will be a balance and you can actually reduce risk and reduce uncertainty. Low cost, because of centralized purchasing, eliminates of middlemen, centralized promotion of sales and increased sales, the multiple shops have lower cost of business. Now this is what it is when you eliminate the middlemen. Now what really happens when you eliminate them? Whatever they used to get as a profit, that is all what? That is only left for you people. Now when it is left for you, what happens is whatever you do is, it will be a low cost for you and more profit for you people. Initially when setting up a business, definitely you will incur more money, but if you understand for the long term benefit, that is always your low cost will be maintained. Flexibility. Under this system, if a shop is not operating at a profit, the management may decide to close it or shift it to some other places without really affecting the profitability of the organization as a whole. Now please understand here, there are say 200 multiple shops which a manufacturer has. Now manufacturer will have a 200 multiple shops. Now if there are say 50 multiple shops are not performing, right, and you have taken it for rent and you are paying rent for it also. Now whenever you want, you can actually dismantle it, and when you dismantle it, now what happens is 50 you have dismantled it, still you have 150 multiple shops. Now what happens is when you are making a loss in 50 shops, it is like you can actually have a flexibility of whenever you want, you will close it. That is what the beauty of multiple shop stores is. But if you understand, if you would have given it for the wholesaler and the retailer and still you are getting losses, now to compensate that, it is all very rigid, because the wholesaler and the retailer would have already taken the goods and they will not give the money for you. Now 150 shops will be there. Now all these 50 shops, the employees whoever are there, now again you can go for a layoff, or you can actually take those employees in this 150 multiple shop. After getting a boon or after making a profit, again you can open more 50, or you can actually open 60. Now you can totally open 110 shops whenever you feel like opening it. That is what the flexibility which is offered to the multiple shops or the chain stores. So let's check the limitations of chain stores or multiple shops. Now here, if you understand, there are 4 things, that is limited selection of goods, then lack of initiative, then lack of personal touch, and the last one is difficult to change demand. Now first one, limited selection of goods. Now here what happens is the manufacturer will only endorse his produced product. He will not go with any other manufacturer's produced goods. So that's why the customers will get only one type or few type of goods which the manufacturers will actually produce. The multiple shop deals only in limited range of products, mostly those produced by the marketers, right? They do not sell, please understand, they do not sell products of other manufacturers. That is what the thing which you people need to understand. In that way, the consumers get only a limited choice of goods. Lack of initiative. Now personal managing, what happens is the management, the multiple shop have to obey the instructions received from the head office. Now that is what they are supposed to do. This makes them habitual. So what happens is everything you are supposed to take the permission or the decisions, whatever happens, should be from the head office. So the people whoever are managing the local different shops, they are supposed to actually obey them, and it will be habitual of looking up to the head office for guidance on all the marketers and take away the instructions or initiative from them to use their creativity skills to satisfy the customer. That means everything, whatever happens in this shop, usually the people whoever are the managing personnel, that is the personnel means staff, personnel means staff. Now they will take orders from the head office. So what happens is lack of initiative will happen in the multiple shops. So whatever the decision is done, how you are supposed to talk to the customer, how you are supposed to dress yourself, how you are supposed to market the product, everything will be given by the head office itself. Now if you want to show your talent also, it will not happen because you are supposed to only work, not think. That is what the demerit of a multiple shop is. Lack of personal touch, lack of initiative. Now because of lack of initiative in the employees, sometimes leads to indifference and lack of personal touch in them. So they'll not be emotionally binded with the customer. They'll only go with what they just want to sell the product. That is what the head office would have told. So they'll have lack of personal touch. Difficult to change demand. So what happens here is the demand for the merchandise handled by the multiple shop changes rapidly. The management may not have sustained huge losses because of large stocks lying unsold at the central depot. Now say example, there is a clothing which the manufacturer have produced it and he is only selling it in multiple shop. Now this trend has changed. Now there is a trend which has changed. Now what happens is the multiple shop people cannot change according to the demand. The reason is whatever was before, whatever they have manufactured, now they cannot make that as a dead capital and they can't change the entire trend. That is what the demerit of multiple shop is all about. So these are the things which you people should know, students. Again, watch the video, you will actually get each and everything properly, advantages and disadvantages of multiple shop. So if you have any doubt, you can call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.